People dealing with the same thing.
Yeah, dealing with the same issues. I
Yeah.
mean, we can relate to when we were in Super Jewelry Co.
Yeah.
when Tony, kind of revealed like everything,
Yeah.
what he went through being a husband to Cindy.
Right.
And then we were just saying, hey, they're like us
Oh yeah,
in a
that's
way.
right. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then he started to point out a bunch of articles researching why is he feeling this way, and he shared it with us, and he shared it on the Golden Rule,
Yeah.
and then you started to bring out some issues within our marriage, um, and it kind of clicked together.
Right.
And he's like, "You got to be a man. We are boys." So we're just a bunch of boys walking around.
That's a good
And
one.
then,
So maybe you could
yeah.
share what does it mean to be a boy?
So, yeah, there's an article out there, and maybe you can find it again.
Okay.
It's boys versus man,
Uh-huh.
right? So sometimes they were just doing a comparison. If you're a lot of women are being married to a boy
In what way?
in a way of just their behavior.
The behavior, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thinking process probably as well.
Yeah.
The way they think, like manning up is to like really not trying to avoid about speaking about issues within your marriage. You know, like that's a man is to let's get it down, let's talk about it versus pushing it aside and thinking everything is fine. So
Like
that
denying it.
yeah, like there's that self-denial.
Yeah.
Probably being responsible, I think,
Yeah.
in your actions, and your behavior, like not to care for the other person, to care for your spouse and your significant other by taking out the trash, not having someone
Yes, thank you, V.
to clarify, take out the trash, or you see a bunch of dishes in the sink, wash it. You don't have to say, are you going to wash the dish, or are you going to clean up this and that? It's just treating each other fairly. That's what I kind of remember as well, the attitude of like being supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were some of the boy behaviors that Tony would point out, like that maybe you shared with him, and then you
If I had
changed
the
it?
list, I can really relate.
Well,
Like,
just think back at your life, your own life, not the article, but in you. So we want to distinguish. I think for people who are listening, they're like, well, what's the difference? If I'm a guy listening, I'm like, and they are usually unconscious about boy behavior.
let's kind of think back to, like, for example, wedding planning.
Okay.
And these issues are engraved in all couples from from when I meet with them, is that the groom just handles the money.
Yeah.
Like that's all they do.
Yeah.
And the decisions are, I mean, I'm not speaking for all grooms that are like this.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing it out that I do see this behavior a lot, is they take no interest in wedding planning. They think it's whatever. This is just a party for me and my guys.
Yeah.
In a way, it's like I can't wait for that bachelor party,
Yeah.
and that is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, all right. And that's a prime example of being a boy. Is your soon to be wife is over here going down the list trying to find the perfect vendor to work with, doing a lot of the work where your input was never, within the decision making. It was just based on price.
Right.
And when you have one person being the price shopper and the other person that's falling in love with the vendors, it's a little offsetting.
How does that translate into marriage, though?
Well, it's just to show that when there is big decision making, right?
Yeah.
That person's unreliable.
Right.
So, for example, you're going to be making big decisions, just like wedding planning.
Right.
Like choosing your home,
Yeah.
what goes in your home.
Right.
Yeah. And other important life decisions.
Yeah. Okay. I was trying to ask you for a personal example. Not pick on our grooms.
Oh, okay. No, but you know, it kind of stirred from that.
Okay. Okay. I mean, during the wedding planning of our like our wedding, it sometimes felt like that. And then before we were married, again, we weren't very good at communicating with each other, and we would assume a lot of things. Both of us would assume a lot of things. It's like, well, I'm doing this. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other person's like, I'm doing this. What are you doing? And it kind of felt like that on both ends. Until like we probably had many conversations. You even said like, why do people even get married?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang. What am I here for too, right? Like that's how it kind of came to. Like for a minute, got a little heated, and then eventually we got married.
That's
and
what
we're
wedding.
here.
That's what wedding planning does.
That's
to
what
you.
wedding planning does. So
It's so stressful.
so what we're
right?
trying to say is like, dude, the things that you're now going to be doing together, right?
Mhm.
And you don't really know before you get married unless you've had very good practice about being good communicators to one another. If you have been, like, good for you, because that's just something I think we, you don't know about it. And I talked about it earlier. Like the idea of marriage is such a fantasy in one's head, especially a woman's head. We're like, woohoo, married. And I knew it wasn't going to be woohoo married all the time, but it's still because you haven't gone through it yet. You don't know. You don't know. So until you go through it, and I think the best way like people can maybe, I guess, get ready for marriage is just start practicing now. Like how to, like you said, treat each other fairly, you know.
Also live together. Like
Try to
live.
live.
Yeah,
Well,
try and live
some people have
together.
their beliefs. And
Yeah.
they don't want to live together before marriage, but that's hard.
That is hard.
We lived together from the
Very
we were
beginning.
Friends, yeah, we were friends
Yeah.
first, and we were roommates first, and then we started dating. So we had a lot of practice.
I think within our generation, when we went to college, a lot of my friends, they were living together already. It's
Right.
like their girlfriend or their boyfriend was already over their home,
Right.
like every day.
Every day, yeah.
Yeah. So.
It just seems unfathomable because like to me I was like, dude, why would I not try to live with my future husband? 'Cause like I want to I want to test drive the car, you know what I mean? Like I want to
Mhm.
test drive it. And like I remember our first year together was like fights about stupid things like toilet paper or cleaning
Yeah.
or stuff like that. And so, yeah, it was great to like get all that crap out of the way. Like still when we moved, like when we got married, we still had the new marriage challenges.
Mhm.
But yeah, like we didn't have to like feel like, oh my god, who's this new person in my house?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite some pressure. Okay.
But I
So-
know in the Asian culture,
Yeah.
they like to live with their parents for a long time until the day they're married.
Well,
Then
it's
they-
different now too, right? Because everything's so expensive. So there's
That's
that.
true.
There's the financial element that is not as, I guess, like we were in the transition of things starting to become expensive.
Mhm.
And so living at home